Voting list number 5 are the bills that were considered by the Alcoholic Beverages Subcommittee on Friday. They are all local bills. They are all favorable. There are no amendments. There's only one bill that was held from that list, from list 5, and one that was held from list 6 on Friday, but we since have letters from Baltimore City delegation. If you wish, Ms. Clark, to go over those, we can do that. Otherwise, the suggestion would be to vote this voting list number 5 as a consent calendar.
That's correct. Voting list number 5 will be by consent. If you want to take a moment to look at it, then we're just going to vote them all up. Yes.
Apologize, I talked to Denise earlier. 990, Frederick County, the hatchet throwing. We just reduced the fee because it's beer and wine. I don't know if that's, do you want to pull that out until we?
You'd have to pull it out and put an amendment on it.
So the committee has the amendment. I'll just go ahead and pull it out and then we can maybe do it later.
Pull it off of the consent list.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on. How do we do that? How do we do it? How do we?
What you do is he moves to remove the bill from the consent calendar. That gets seconded. You say, all opposed, say aye.
I'm gonna.
Remove House Bill 990
from the consent calendar. Okay.
Okay.
Without objection.
Without objection, House Bill 990 is removed from the consent calendar.
Move
List number 5 as a consent calendar favorable.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Everybody who's present is
So who are excused?
who's excused? We have
Fennell.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. I believe that is it. Everyone else is a yay for consent calendar, or excuse me, consent vote on House voting list 5. Moving on to voting list 6.
Give me a second, sir. Voting list 6 are the bills that were taken up by the Alcoholic Beverages Subcommittee as local bills with amendments on Friday. All of them were recommended to be favorable with the amendments. But we do need to go through and describe the amendments as we go.
Please do.
All right, House Bill 113 establishes the Ocean City Promoters License in Worcester County. Amendment number 1 in your packet is technical. Amendment number 2 specifies that the license must be approved in writing by the Ocean City Police Department and that the fee is per entertainment event.
Amendments.
to the amendments.
Second.
And the bill is amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move the bills amended.
Second.
Bill is amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Delegates Fennell and Sample Hughes are excused. Everyone else is a yay. Next bill, please.
Holding House Bill 258.
Correct.
Okay, House Bill 436 from Prince George's County is the next one. Let me just get my lists up here. So 436 from Prince George's County. The amendment adds the transfer of licenses from one area into another, so long as they're not, this is a Class A license, so long as they're not within 1 mile of an existing other license. This is a jurisdiction that has license caps.
Move the amendment.
All in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing none, as the bill is amended.
Move the bills amended.
All in favor of the bill as amended say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Hearing none. All are aye except for Fennell and Sample Hughes.
Okay. House Bill 520 from the City of Annapolis. Again, all of these bills are, we do have a letter of support of the delegation with the amendment. This is for the city of Annapolis, setting up an art establishment license. The amendments are twofold. One limits the purposes of the corporation, of the entity which would obtain the license to being for artistic purposes. The other thing is that it takes the license fee, which came in as a placeholder at $205, and raises it to be $1,000.
Move the amendment.
All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Move the bills amended.
Bill is amended. All in favor, say aye. Any opposition, say nay. All support. Fennell and Sample Hughes are excused. Next bill is House Bill 558.
Yes, House Bill 558 is from Carroll County. It's about resident requirements for license holders, and the amendment clarifies a residency requirement for alcoholic beverages license holders in Carroll County.
Are we holding it? This one being held?
No?
No. Okay, never mind.
The amendment said what?
Move the amendment.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. On the bill is, all in favor of the amendment, say aye. All in favor, say nay, or all opposed, say nay. Hearing none.
Move the bills amended.
All in favor of the bill as amended, say aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. All in favor except for Fennell and Sample Hughes, which are excused. Next bill.
House Bill 587 is a Baltimore City bill. It authorizes a board to exchange a certain license for a Class A7 license. The amendments are technical.
Move the amendment.
Thank you. On the amendments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Move the bills amended.
The bill is amended. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. All in favor except for Fennell and Sample Hughes, who are excused. Next bill is House Bill
670.
Yes.
This reduces the annual fee for a stadium license. There is one amendment to the bill, and it turns it into a delegation bill.
Move the amendment.
All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Any opposition?
Move the bills amended.
All in favor of the bill as amended, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. All in favor of the bill as amended, Fennell and Sample Hughes are excused. Next bill, please.
House Bill 784 from Prince George's County. This is, sets up for the restaurant Class B beer, wine, and liquor licenses, inspections, and penalties. The amendments strike provisions relating to entertainment permits that would have allowed a promoter to be used, and instead set up a local task force to take a look at entertainment permits, which are a issue of continuing interest in that delegation.
Move the amendment.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Hearing none.
Move the bill as amended.
On the bill is amended, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. All in favor except for Sample Hughes and Fennell, who are excused. Next bill, please.
885.
Okay.
885,
I was waiting
apologize.
for that to come on, sorry. House Bill 885 from Baltimore City extends the termination of a related event promoter's permit and alters a certain definition. The amendment to this bill is technical.
Move the amendment.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye. Any opposition?
Move the bills amended.
On the bill as amended, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, all in favor of the bill as amended except for Fennell and Sample Hughes, who are excused. Next bill, 886.
House Bill 886 from Baltimore City broadens pre-existing boundaries that limit liquor store hours and authorizes the board to issue a Class C beer, wine, and liquor license in a certain block. The amendment to this bill authorizes florists to hold a Class C beer and wine license and limits alcoholic beverage licenses in certain parts of the 40th District.
Move the amendment.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none.
Move the bills amended.
On the bill as amended, all in favor say aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, all present are in favor, are favorable except for Fennell and Sample Hughes are excused. Next bill is House Bill 946.
House Bill 946 is a development district license for the county in Main Street Laurel. The amendment moves the boundaries of the proposed district over by, I believe it's 1 block.
Move the amendment.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye. Any opposition?
Move the bill as amended.
All in favor of the bill as amended, say aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. All in favor except for Sample Hughes and Fennell who are excused. Next bill is House Bill 1058.
House Bill 1058 is from Hartford County, and it establishes the Class B HTF beer and wine license to be issued at a hatchet throwing facility. There's one amendment to the bill, and the bill strikes language would have allowed licensees to purchase alcohol from another retailer or manufacturer.
Move the amendment.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye. Any opposition?
Move the bill as amended.
On the bill as amended, all in favor say aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, all in favor of the bill except for Sample Hughes and Fennell who are excused. Next bill, 1059.
House Bill 1059 from Hartford County establishes a performing arts theater beer and wine license for use on a performance art theater operated by a nonprofit. There's one amendment, and it strikes language that would have allowed the licensee to purchase alcoholic beverages from another retailer or manufacturer.
Move the
It's the same amendment.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye. Hearing none, or opposed, hearing none, the bill is amended.
Move the bill as amended.
On the bill as amended, all in favor say aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, all are in favor of the bill as amended except for Fennell, Sample Hughes who are excused. Next bill, please.
House Bill 1063 from Hartford County establishes a 6- and 7-day beer, wine, and liquor alcoholic beverages license for health clubs. There's one amendment, and the amendment alters the license to be a beer and wine only license, requires a licensee to have either an indoor or outdoor pool or a pickleball court, and provides that the licensee may only serve alcoholic beverages in a bar area or an indoor lounge and must have prepackaged food at all times that alcohol is served.
Move the amendment.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye. Any opposition? Hearing none.
Move the bill as amended.
On the bill as amended, all in favor say aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. All present voting yes except for Fennell and Hughes. Sample Hughes, excuse me. I think that completes this voting list.
I'm assuming we're taking 990 at the next voting list. That's the Frederick County one,
Why did we remove that anyway?
because he wanted an amendment on it.
Does he have the amendment? Pippi, do you have the amendment? Pippi, do you? We haven't seen the amendment. My inbox?
We'll be voting tomorrow.
To like 160. That's all it does. 990. So from 1,500 beer, wine, and liquor to 160, which is beer and wine in Frederick.
Sure. Okay, well, we'll try and put it on the next voting list.
Okay.
Okay, now we're on voting list number 7.
Yes. Okay. Voting list 7 includes all of the statewide, or some of the statewide bills that were taken up by the Alcoholic Beverages Subcommittee on Friday. House Bill 787 from Delegate Atterbury. This is the DoorDash delivery for alcoholic beverages.
Move on favorable summer study.
House Bill 787, this is the bill that would authorize delivery of alcoholic beverages by third-party services such as DoorDash rather than by restaurants and their employees. The motion is to refer to summer study.
The chairwoman is aware that it will be moved to summer study. So motion is unfavorable summer study. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Aye.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Dago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
Aye.
Delegate Aaron's.
Aye.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yep.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
Yes.
Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Next bill. It's
House Bill 987 from Delegates Valderrama and Crosby establishes the use, essentially a state license for the use of alcoholic beverages for educational purposes. This is for things like the fermentation program at University of Maryland College Park and other institutions of higher education where they would use a sip and spit approach for tasting alcoholic beverages for those individual students who are at least 18 but under 21. There are no amendments.
Move favorable.
Right, because otherwise they can't legally taste it. Yeah, and the professor will be standing right next to them with the spittoon, don't worry. Jobs?
This is favorable.
They're fermenting alcohol, they're fermenting kimchi, they're fermenting tofu. Tofu, yeah,
All right, there are no amendments.
correct.
Motion is
Seconded.
properly seconded. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Aye.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Dago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Aye.
Delegate Pippy. Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
Yes.
Delegate Wyval.
Yes.
Delegate Fisher. Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill passes. Next bill, please.
Okay, next bill on the list is House Bill 1000 from Delegate Wilson. There are two amendments in your packet. The one amendment is a set of amendments that were worked out together between the ATC and representatives of the premium cigar industry. And those amendments do two things. From the ATC side, they clarify that failure to abide by zoning restrictions is something ATC can look at with when either issuing or renewing a tobacco or other tobacco products license. And then the other amendment that is a set of amendments for those deal with issues with the common carrier permit where they will not require, as long as the common carrier abides by the requirements, they don't have to make a certain certification because they're afraid that the U.S. Postal Service won't do that. The other thing that it does to address the question that Delegate Howard brought concerning warrantless searches and seizures is to take the, require that for premium cigars and pipe tobacco that they cannot be searched or seized without a warrant.
Yes. Put this bill on hold for now. Next bill.
Okay, House Bill 1165, Alcohol and Tobacco Commission Technical Corrections and Clarifications.
This one as well.
Sure, whatever you want.
Thank you. That's all for that list. Yeah, I just got a text message.
Oh, from,
Matt wants to look at it, make sure they don't conflict with any of the bills that we're pushing for the ATC, so it's fine. Just wait. I know.
that's something else. Just a minute, okay.
Yep,
Wish he'd talk to me.
we will.
Yep.
Yep. So I'll call.
Okay, give me 1 minute on this here.
Now, colleagues, we're getting ready, and obviously when Bob's ready, but we're going to move on to our final voting list, which is voting list number 8. We're starting out with House Bill 323.
House Bill 323 from Delegate Charkoudian, Social Services Programs Eligibility and Enrollment. There is an amendment in your packet. This is the one that deals with combine enrollment with energy assistance and SNAP, so that when you're enrolling in one, you enroll in the other. The bill also takes the eligibility for EUSP and raises it from 175% of poverty for those who are under 67 to 200% of poverty, which is the current standard for those who are at least 67 years of age.
Move the amendment.
All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none.
Move the bill as amended.
Any discussion on the bill? Hearing none. Those in favor with amendments, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Aye. Delegate Guapo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
No.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose. No. Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hildago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
No.
Delegate Aaron's.
No.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Ampry.
Yes.
Delegate Weibel.
No.
Delegate Fisher.
No.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill passes. Next bill, which is House Bill 408.
House Bill 408 from Delegate Grammer would require the ATC to essentially let people know that marijuana is not legal and set up a legalization awareness program, and would set up a tax credit for certain new licensees.
Move unfavorable.
Motion is unfavorable. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Aye. Delegate Guapo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
No, only unfavorable.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose. No. Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Unfavorable.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hildago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
No.
Delegate Aaron's.
No.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Ampry.
Yes.
Delegate Weibel.
No.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes, on the unfavorable.
Go ahead. Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Unfavorable motion passes. The bill is dead. Next bill.
Okay.
House Bill
777.
Brief Indulgence. Why is 718 in here?
Keep holding
You
it.
may have the wrong, because it was on a
Yeah,
prior
it was.
list, that's
All
why.
right. I keep checking the wrong one. 777.
All right. House Bill 777 requires each licensed cigarette wholesaler to submit complete and accurate information in the form and manner the comptroller requires for certain reporting requirements. There's one amendment to the bill, and the amendment strikes additional penalty provisions that this bill provided.
Move the amendment.
On the amendments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
Move the bill as amended.
Any discussion?
Penalties, I mean, what is it that they're not reporting that the comptroller thinks that they should be reporting? I've never been able to figure it out.
Information with specificity. Right now, they're just required to provide information. It was negotiated, guys. This is what we've got. Okay. The bill is amended. Seeing no other discussion, Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
No.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose. No. Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused, apologize. Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hildago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
No.
Delegate Aaron's.
No.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Ampry.
Yes.
Delegate Weibel.
No.
Delegate Fisher.
No.
Delegate Queen. Bill
Yes.
passes with amendments. Thank you very much. Next bill is 29 is,
That was,
House Bill 829,
deals with setbacks for retail service stations.
apologize. No,
No,
829.
829.
Go ahead. He said we did. Whenever you're ready. The motion is unfavorable. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Vice Chair on the unfavorable.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hildago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Aye.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
It's unfavorable, right?
Correct.
Yes on the unfavorable.
Thank you. Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Ampry.
Yes.
Delegate Weibel.
Yes.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill moves unfavorable. Next bill, House Bill 834.
Okay, House Bill 834 from Delegate Frazier Hidalgo, electric vehicle charging infrastructure. There are actually 4 amendments that have been sent out on this bill. And let me just get the iPad up to speed on this. Okay. The first amendment requires a corrective action plan for a utility that fails to keep its charging stations up and running to the required standard. Also adds reasonable cost limits and public interest to the standards that PSC must use when approving these pilot program installation of EV chargers. The third amendment strikes a required staff study. The fourth limits the multifamily dwelling area expansion of this program to cut off at the end of 12/31/2025. And then finally, the amendment says that an outage at these EV chargers based on either force majeure or vandalism doesn't count.
Amendments.
On the amendments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
Move the,
Hearing none.
move the bills amended.
Any discussion? Of course, yes.
Just real quick, these are all owned by the utility, is that
Correct.
And who fixes them? The
Utilities.
utility. So all ratepayers are paid to fix these? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, guys? On the bill as amended, Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison.
Aye.
Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
No.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose. Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hildago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
No.
Delegate Aaron's.
No.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Ampry.
Yes.
Delegate Weibel.
No.
Delegate Fisher.
No.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
34 passes. Next bill, please.
House 889, where we are primary, Ways and Means was secondary. Another Delegate Ruth bill with retail service stations. This is one that would require them to install EV charging stations and also provide a property tax credit for them.
Unfavorable.
Motion is unfavorable. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby on the unfavorable.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison.
Aye.
Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Aye.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hildago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
Aye.
Delegate Aaron's. Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Aye.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Aye.
Delegate Ampry.
Aye.
Delegate Weibel.
Yes.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill goes down unfavorable. Next bill, please.
Let's see.
Hey, what you want to do? Did you explain? Well, for discussion, say what the bill does, please.
Yeah, what the bill does is it requires, pretty much what its title says. It requires an independent study for the Public Service Commission, see how it's working, see how it isn't working, see how it could be improved. Sort of a 360 look from business jargon at the commission. And outside study, to look at it and report back.
And so as, we have not had discussion yet, the idea, we understand, obviously the difficult situation we've been with the PSC, but also by June, there will be 3 new members of the 5 members total. And giving the new administration an opportunity to be successful. What we plan on doing is sending them a letter, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Sending them a letter with our expectations of what the administration as well as the PSC of what we'd like to see, the difficulties we've had in the past. So instead of passing this bill now, we want to give the administration a year to catch up before we decide to swing the hammer. So would you like to hold the bill, or would you like me to just cut it open here? Okay. Vote it down?
Move unfavorable. That's it. It's unfavorable.
The motion is unfavorable on House Bill 891. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Aye on the unfavorable.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose. Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hidalgo.
Aye.
Delegate Adams. Delegate Aaron's.
Aye.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
No.
Delegate Weigel.
Yeah.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill moves unfavorable. Next bill.
House Bill 902, as introduced, extended the time frame for reporting an athletic pubalgia hernia from 45 days after the occurrence of the accidental personal injury or strain to 45 days after the diagnosis of the hernia for workers' comp benefits. There is an amendment in your packet that basically strips all of that and establishes that a hernia caused by repetitive trauma may be considered a compensable occupational disease. This bill passed out of subcommittee, favorable with the amendment in your packet.
The amendment?
On the amendments, all in favor? All in favor, excuse me. Any objection?
Move the bills amended?
On the bill as amended. Any discussion? All day. Delegate Adams.
Thank you, Chair. And these worker comp bills are tough bills often because we're dealing with presumptions. And I'm just curious, and I don't know that there's an answer that is really necessary, but, how do you have a repetitive motion?
This isn't a presumption, you know that, right?
Well, no, then tell me what the bill does, because most workers comp bills that we deal with have to do with.
Correct. This isn't a presumption bill.
It's not a presumption. It's taking it from being an accidental injury, meaning there's an actual incident that occurred that made you have the hernia. From now, you're doing repetitive motions that is part of the occupation. So think about you're lifting boxes, and your job is repetitively, you're lifting boxes all day long. And so now, because you're doing that repetitive motion, you've gotten this hernia. So now that's part of considered an occupational disease. So at least the attorneys can argue for it in court, as opposed to you had this one-off accident happen that had to cause this hernia.
So you're saying up to this point, workers comp hasn't recognized hernias as a.
Accidental.
They have only an accidental. You had to point out the instance that it occurred versus over time and repetitive movement, which is now at least allowing them to argue over time or with repetitive movement, a hernia occurred.
Okay, so it's not a presumption.
It is not a presumption.
It is the creation of a.
Just
Okay.
allowing them.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, on the bill as amended. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison.
Aye.
Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard.
Aye.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hidalgo,
Aye.
Delegate Adams,
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's,
Aye.
Delegate Pippy,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Johnson,
Aye.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Amprey,
Yes.
Delegate Weibel, Delegate Fisher.
No.
You're a no, Mark?
No.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill passes as amended. It's your first bill? Pruski's first bill. Fisher voted against it. Just remember who your enemies are. Yep. Next bill, House Bill 903. I'm assuming I missed that, so okay. House Bill 903.
House Bill 903 from Delegate Crosby was taken up favorably by the PNC subcommittee last week. This deals with MAFE and its assessments. The amendments adopted by the subcommittee include taking the assessment process and instead of making it a separate line item on the bill, makes it either be rate-based or lets the insurer absorb it, changes the one who determines whether there is whether and how to apply the overcharge, the overassessment previously made, and puts it into the hands of the board of the fund. Basically, that's most of what it does.
Move the amendments?
On the amendments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none.
Move the bill as amended.
Any discussion on the bill as amended?
With the amendments? Was there any opposition to the bill with the amendments?
I don't know there's any particular statement been made on things with the amendment. We're joint with appropriations, so I'm sure there'll be, there were concerns back and forth as to what the overcharge fund could be used for, and that'll be taken up frankly in appropriations. They're going to send us other amendments back, I'm sure.
I think that, for everybody's knowledge, there's going to be more discussion around the $10 million and where that goes, and I think that there is some opposition to that, but not how we have it postured. That'll probably be taken on with appropriations.
Any other discussion? The bill is amended. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison.
Aye.
Delegate Boifo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Aye.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hidalgo.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Aye.
Delegate Pippin.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Aye.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
Yes.
Delegate Weibel. Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yeah.
Bill passes as amended. Next bill.
House Bill 908 was held at the last voting session. House Bill 908 was held at the last voting session. That was the bill to take the community solar program, make some changes to it, making it permanent, making some changes to what agrivoltaics are, changing the way that actually making the permanent program as of July 1st of this year, and then making some additional changes as to how people can and cannot be subscribing to it. It also takes and makes a certain amount of the new program, the new ones be used for low and moderate income customers.
What was that?
Move the amendments?
On the amendments, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? The bill is amended. Any questions or discussion? Delegate Weibel.
So the Farm Bureau had asked for Class 1 and Class 2 soils to be restricted.
For what? I didn't hear you.
The Farm Bureau had asked for Class 1 and Class 2 soils to be restricted from allowing these type of community solar generating stations. Was that added as part of the amendments?
I want to make sure I understand. The question was that The Farm Bureau wants us to restrict what a
They
farmer can
don't
do with
want
his
class
land.
one and class two soils.
So
They
the
don't want
farm,
these to be
so
allowed to
certain
be.
farmers won't be able to do what they want with their land even if they so choose. That, I want to make sure that's what the Farm Bureau wanted to do. Because I didn't hear
That was
that.
their request.
So if they own a certain
assume
type of
that-
land, they can't participate.
I assume they take a vote on that amongst their organization. I don't know.
I just want to make,
Couple things. You're right, Delegate Wyville, when they originally came in, that was part of the one of the two amendments. The other is the agrivoltaics, which we gave them that. They worked with the sponsor. When they went over to the Senate, they didn't ask for the Class 1, Class 2 restriction amendment, and I think that they were happy with the agrivoltaics. I'm not saying that they're okay with it overall, but one, I do think that there is split consensus or split opinion amongst their ranks about telling people what to do with their land. And then we also do not restrict Class 1 or Class 2 on any other type of solar projects, and that is part of the thought process there.
and I was literally asking for clarification because I hadn't heard the amendment. I apologize. Mark, I heard your eyes rolling from over here. Are you all right? Oh, okay. Okay. I know. I got you. I just want to make sure. All right, so Delegate Charkoudian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just want to clarify. It's my understanding, just because I've talked to the folks who are working on the amendments, that the Farm Bureau essentially rescinded it, that they were okay with the bill with the amendments that it had, and they're comfortable with it and supportive.
Okay. On the bill as amended, we moved? I believe so. On the bill as amended, if there's no other discussion, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
No.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
No.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Odago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
No.
Delegate Aaron's.
No.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Jackson.
Aye.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
Yes.
Delegate Weibel.
No.
Delegate Fisher.
No.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill passes as amended. Next bill.
House Bill 999 repeals a prohibition against the State Department of Assessments and Taxation from accepting articles of dissolution for a corporation unless all late annual reports are filed. The bill also repeals a requirement that SDAT issue a certificate of determination once all past due annual reports are filed, and there are no amendments to the bill.
Move favorable.
Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Aye.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Apologize. Delegate Turner. Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Odago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Aye.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Aye.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
Yes.
Delegate Weibel.
Yes.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill passes. Next bill, House Bill 101.
House Bill 1001 from Delegate Bridges would require a subsidy payment to be made to those who graduate from training programs, workforce training programs in Baltimore City, to let them travel to get car insurance so they could travel to get jobs outside the city.
Due to the fiscal note, I'm going to move on favorable.
The motion is unfavorable. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby on the
Aye.
unfavorable. Delegate Harrison.
Aye.
Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Aye.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Rose.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Chi.
No on the unfavorable.
Delegate Frazier Odago.
Aye.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yep.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
No on the unfavorable.
Delegate Weibel.
Yes.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Moves unfavorable. Next bill, House Bill 108.
House Bill 1008 from Delegate R. Lewis would be the rebate program for electric bicycles for MEA.
Mr. Vice Chair,
Again, because of the fiscal note, move unfavorable.
any discussion?
We had an electric roller skating amendment, but she.
Thank you. Other than that, is there any other discussion? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby on the
Aye.
unfavorable. Delegate Harrison.
Aye.
Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard. Aye. Delegate Charkoudian.
Aye.
Delegate Rose. Yes. Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Sample Hughes excused. Delegate Valderrama.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
No on the unfavorable.
Killing me. Delegate Frazier Hildago.
Yes. Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yep.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
Yes.
Delegate Weigel.
Yes.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Bill moves unfavorable. Next bill is House Bill 1186.
House Bill 1186 would require that the members of public service companies that are members of PJM report annually on their votes that they cast at the meeting of the PJM. Right now, they only have to report top-level votes. Lower-level votes are currently not disclosed.
Motion is favorable, duly seconded. Any discussion? Delegate Adams.
So this bill requires members or utilities to disclose their votes with the PJM? Is that
Correct.
Okay, and what is the, why would we be asking them for that? What's the purpose of the bill?
My understanding is that policy is made at PJM at several different levels, not only at the top level of the governing organization, but also within the subcommittees. And some of the subcommittee decisions then percolate up to the top level, and that only the vote at that level is disclosed.
So, what point would that information be helpful other than be a critic of the work product that they're involved in? You know,
I think
shaming them for their
I mean,
participation? Because everybody's going to have yes and no. It's just,
I think it's more of a transparency thing for accountability. It's, you can judge them or not, or whether you want to look or not. I believe that the argument is that they at least be transparent what they're doing, how their votes, what votes they're taking.
I don't have a file with me, but I know that there was opposition on this bill that related to how they operate in that setting, and that their cooperation amongst themselves in these committees quite often relate to how they vote, that they're working within the committee itself to achieve an end. But go ahead.
I think that there was such testimony, yes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I would just, what I shared in the hearing is that there are specific votes and policies that are made at PJM that override or impact state policy, our clean energy policy, our interconnection, and rates, what rates our ratepayers see. And so we have a vested interest as a state General Assembly in understanding how decisions are made there. And the monopoly franchise that we give to public utilities in the state comes with it a responsibility to behave in the public interest, including in closed door rooms. And so this, to the chair's point, creates a level of transparency where there is none. And since we can't control PJM overall, we can at least direct our utilities to engage in the public interest when they're there and be transparent about the way that they're doing that.
Delegate Howard.
How are these people in those? Are they appointed by the secretary? Who's appointed by the governor? Are they elected? Are they just hired randomly? How are they?
There are several different levels of membership within PJM as transmission organizations, as generators, and so it's actually based upon their economic interest. It's not based on, it's not selection by FCC, by FERC, for example.
Mm-hmm.
It's a member-owned organization of the electric companies and the transmission companies, which arises from the fact that it started out as a private entity that was put together to coordinate the electric systems of Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, and Maryland. It's evolved from there, and it has since acquired authority from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission over the regional transmission area as changes have come along in the Federal Power Act. But it started out as a private body, and to many respects, it retains the organizational structure of a private entity.
When did FERC give them that power, do you know?
It's changed over time. I
Right.
mean, first they had independent system operators, then they became regional transmission operators. That's been changing over time since at least 1978.
Would we, geez, I can't talk, I'm sorry. Would we be the first to pass legislation in the PJM of this type of scope and scale?
I don't know.
You're not.
Most likely, yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next we have Delegate Hippie. Okay, just the usual suspects. Go ahead, Delegate Hippie.
Well, I'm going to give my unusual testimony here. Maybe Delegate Charkoudian can help me. So this is just from PEPCO, and they wrote this. So PEPCO and Delmarva Power believe that companies would be unwilling to offer innovative or nascent proposals for discussion for fear of retribution on a vote taken and recorded at that level. In addition, providing information as to whether a particular proposal is within the public interest could have the same stifling effect. We believe that companies should be able to ideate freely, that's a word I haven't heard before, at that level, and the transparency provided at the member level is sufficient. Can you address that?
May I, Mr. Chair?
Please.
So the minutes of the meeting are not required to be disclosed. So proposal could be put out there, people could talk, they can share, they can say candidly whatever it is they want in the conversation, and that would not be disclosed. But when they get to the point that the proposal that's in front of them is getting a vote, there is a distinction within PJM of a recorded vote. They're recorded, they're not public. So it's not that the entire conversation would become public, it's just how folks voted on a proposal would become public. And so it's just worth noting that the proposals that are being considered, for example, if you think about the capacity market, is affecting how much capacity, this is a very simplified version, how much capacity we're purchasing, and that directly affects our ratepayers. And so if our utilities are voting on a regular basis to procure more capacity than we think is necessary, and that is directly affecting our ratepayers, I think it's in our interest to hear from our utilities why they think it's in the public interest to do that when it has an impact on the ratepayers. I think that that's a responsible thing for us to ask of them if they're taking those votes that are impacting rates in our state.
Just real quick and then I'm done. Is there a big difference between the member level and then the other level where it's recorded? I mean, can we not achieve the same transparency?
Well, the issue is that, Mr. Chair, can I respond?
He's talking to you.
Okay. The issue is that a concept never gets to that higher level unless it passes out of the lower level. So what we never know is what are the ideas and the proposals that were killed at that lower level that might have been good for ratepayers or might have been bad for ratepayers, or might have been good for clean energy, might have been bad for clean energy. We never find out about those because they don't make it to that higher level where we can see the votes that are taken. So that's why it's not sufficient. We see the stuff that makes it and how people vote, but we don't see the stuff that doesn't make it.
Was that sufficient? Delegate Aaron's.
Just real quick, if we, Maryland, decides we want to do this, do they have to let us, do they have to obey it? No, I mean, you're in the PJM. Are we going to be the one telling the PJM, that whole group, that we want this, you have to do that? Or do they have some decision-making?
Just Maryland companies. I believe it's just Maryland companies that participate in the PGM.
Okay, so you're talking, okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking to the PGM to say anything they do.
No.
These are Maryland companies. Nope. You know, and I want some more information on this. I'm going to vote no on the bill today, but I would like to dig deeper into this because some of what you said made sense to me.
Thank you.
And this is a public meeting.
Delegate Adams.
Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to briefly close and just make my statement because I heard Delegate Charkoudian, and I think a lot of what she says makes sense. But when you say it's not just rates, it's also them discussing reliability. PJM is a multi-state consortium. So, you know, there's absolutely the time and place for cooperation amongst partners in that setting to make sure we're advancing goals. I'll agree, the state's mandating it. But I'll tell you what happens in these conversations is PJM able to deliver? And what are those plans? And what do those votes look like in subcommittee? And what does that decision-making look like? And if every one of our utilities finds themselves incapable of openly communicating about some difficulties with policymaking here in Maryland as it relates to a multi-state obligation to deliver energy, then I think you're actually hurting our state's ability to be able to turn the lights on. I worry, and I didn't have the testimony with me, and Pippi did, but I read that testimony, and I read it before I came here today, and I got to tell you something. There is nothing wrong with allowing market participants that are voting members in a multi-state consortium from being able to fully and openly communicate amongst their partners on the policy of reliability. And I think that's just the thing that when we see these policies pass out of Maryland that they're worried about. When we talk about, I'm done. That's my point.
I have a follow-up, I guess. So you're saying that if they're being recorded, then they're going to be less likely to be honest, truthful, fruitful with the conversation? I'm not understanding how having a standard or an accountability would stop people from putting the best interest of their companies, their rate holders, or themselves. How does that at risk?
So,
It
Mr.
sounds
Chairman,
like an honesty versus, and I mean, I know you're not alleging this, but it almost sounds like an honesty versus dishonesty thing. Like, if it's in the light, I can't do it, but if it's in the dark, I'm comfortable.
So my answer, Mr. Chairman, is this, that if you have a utility that operates in the state of Maryland that has to confront the legislature every 90 days each year, but they have a critical view of what we're doing as policy, and it comes through the lens of having to vote within subcommittees or committees, then I would be worried if I'm a utility as to whether or not I'm willing to take a true and honest assessment, carry it forward in that multi-state consortium, and do it in the context of trying to make sure that PJM is able to do their job. And if you had, I'm not going to name one name of the, pick a utility, and they go into one of these meetings and they're concerned about something, do you think they're actually going to give the honest assessment vis-a-vis their vote when they know that they're going to have to come back next session and have to answer questions from delegates about, well, how did you vote this way and why did you vote this way? And well, you know what I would do if I was utility? I would just kind of sit on the sidelines and say, you know what, I'm not going to get in the middle of that.
That's very disappointing. I hope that that's not what happens, because at the end of the day, nobody here's that vengeful. I believe at the end of the day that they have a job that they're paid to do like we do.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not saying vengeful is the word for it, but what I'm saying is that if you have a scenario where a utility's vote in a setting like that up till now has not been made public,
sure,
it almost has to have the effect of chilling their ability to communicate openly and forthrightly in that setting. Whether or not we are vindictive is not the point. The question is, we're humans, and we certainly face these utilities every year. It's in our committee, and I do worry. And I think that the utilities in their testimony, it's my words. I'm just a layman. I don't participate in that market, but I would just tell you as a business guy, that's a concern.
I got you.
That's my point.
Speaking of vindictive, Delegate Fisher.
So I don't know what the answer to this question is at that level when they're making policy decisions, but I was wondering to what extent their policy decisions are as much about national security as they are about anything else. I mean, obviously policymakers.
It's a very low level. I would be terrified if they were discussing national security at that level, but then when they got up to the members, they no longer discussed it when it's actually open in public.
I don't know. I mean, because obviously I believe Delegate Adams and Delegate Pippi were bringing up things, the underlying part of, national security, reliability, and so forth. I really think, and obviously reliability, we all agree is important. To what extent do we not want to politicize that level?
It just seems weird that they would be discussing such minutia up down there, very important things, but then when they got to the membership level, those things that now are public, they would not be free to discuss them then. It seems like a very upside down triangle to do it that way. Like what's kind of important down there would definitely also be important at the member level, and we would hear about it, i.e. through their recordings. That's my understanding. But I see your point. It's just, if they're discussing national security down there, promise you they're doing it at the member level.
Yeah, and I don't know, and
Yeah.
that's the truth, I don't.
Got you. I think the last person we have is the vice chair.
Yeah, I just want to touch on the testimony that was given. Obviously, there's a bunch of unfavorables submitted, but not one utility sat at the table and allowed us to ask them a single question. Not one. So I think that that is worth something in and of itself. And our subcommittees are either on Zoom or in here. They're all, publicly casted. Everything is recorded. And I don't think it has any chilling effect on legislation across the board. We're still able to have conversations, and there's still conversations as we walk over to the floor. So, with that, I do think that this is, a very good transparency bill for the state and allows us to know where our utilities stand.
Mr. Bud. Go ahead.
Is it possible that discussions are had at that level that may not be ready to be made public in a public setting? Is that a thing?
I would imagine if they're talking about something inconsistent with their job, maybe if they're talking about family members and stuff like that, if they're bad-mouthing delegates, I don't know. I'm sure anything's possible. I would doubt they would waste the time of the meeting to discuss things that weren't germane to that actual meeting and what they're there for. And we don't know because it's closed doors, and I think that's the whole point. Okay. Yes, for another bite.
Well, just to key in on what the vice chair said, what he said is interesting, but that's assuming a lot, and I would like to talk to them and see what their thinking is behind it. I know we're not going to do
They've had ample opportunity, I will say that, to reach out and talk to all of us.
And also, too, I would like to know, we do a lot with like state pensions, and those type of pension plans are voted on. What reports are we getting there? So, in other words, what are we doing, as far as parity is concerned? We want to see what the decision-making process is here, right? Because this affects the ratepayer. When we regularly put into policies in place, for example, our state pension system, the good delegate, former Delegate Frick came in many years ago when I first was here, and we did a big state pension bill, and there's no call to see what plans were voted on or what wasn't voted on at those levels, those lower levels. So it just strikes me as funny that we were only doing this to our energy suppliers.
I'm sure whatever committee that would fall into.
That was us. We did that bill.
No, we do state pensions.
Bill Frick's, it was one of his.
My point is that's a bill that can be put in.
Silver tsunami.
If we believe that that's necessary. And
well,
again,
I'm just looking.
I'll support you.
I'm not questioning motive or anything. It just.
No, I understand your point in the argument. If it's either transparency or not. And if you don't
Right.
believe we're being transparent in other areas, then the argument is, do we not be transparent at all, or do we start moving towards that direction? And I think that's a policy decision for each one of us to make.
It strikes me as funny that we're doing this with the PJM, and I feel like we're kind of targeting them on this.
Got you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I believe we've exhausted that. Any other discussion? You guys good? We've answered, it's covered everything, right? All right, I just want to make sure, it was just favorable on this one? Was ready to make the motion?
Yep.
Okay,
Barely favorable.
barely.
It was seconded.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Aye.
Delegate Harrison? Aye. Delegate Boafo?
Aye.
Delegate Howard?
No.
Delegate Charkoudian?
Yes.
Delegate Rose? No. Delegate Pruski?
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate Turner?
Yes.
Delegate Sample Hughes excused. Delegate Valderrama?
Aye.
Delegate Chi?
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hildago?
Aye.
Delegate Adams?
No.
Delegate Aaron's?
No.
Delegate Pippy?
No.
Delegate Jackson?
Aye.
Delegate Johnson?
Aye.
Delegate Rogers?
Yes.
Delegate Amprey?
Yes.
Delegate Weigel?
No.
Delegate Fisher?
No.
Delegate Queen?
Yes.
Bill passes favorable. Next bill, please.
Okay, let me just save this thing. Delegate Atterbury has House 1188 next on the list. This is the one that clarifies that solar photovoltaic systems under 2 megawatts are not under CPCN, they're under local. control.
Move favorable.
Any discussion? Seeing none? Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
unfavorable.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison? Aye. Boafo?
Aye.
Delegate Howard?
No.
Delegate Charkoudian?
Yes.
Delegate Rose? No. Delegate Pruski?
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused, apologize. Delegate Turner?
Yes.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama? Delegate Chi?
Aye.
Delegate Frazier Hidalgo?
Aye.
Delegate Adams?
No.
Delegate Aaron's?
No.
Delegate Pippy?
No.
Delegate Jackson?
Aye.
Delegate Johnson?
Aye.
Delegate Rogers?
Yes.
Delegate Amprey?
Yes.
Delegate Weigel?
No.
Delegate Fisher?
No.
Delegate Queen?
Yes.
Bill passes favorable. Next bill is House Bill 134.
It's a bill we're joint with ENT on. This is the one that would take the Maryland Building Performance Standards and advance the timing and dates for moving to all-electric building standards.
Move unfavorable.
Thank you. Property seconded on the unfavorable. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Wait, apologize. Any discussion? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Aye. Delegate Boafo.
Aye.
Delegate Howard.
Aye.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Favorable.
Delegate Rose. No on the unfavorable.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell is excused. Delegate
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Sample Hughes is excused. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi.
No on the unfavorable.
Killing me. Delegate Frazier Hidalgo.
No.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Johnson.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Amprey.
Yes.
Delegate Weigel.
Yes.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Thank you. Bill moves unfavorable. Colleagues, before we leave, again, I'll just say this to the general body. We been slow on the uptake because we've been busy, but as you see on your desk is a ECM committee dinner. You see the cost, apparently it's gone up $75. It's next Thursday. I know this is late notice and we got to raise some cash. I get it. But if you could get your money to Miss Denise, we are having it at Blackwall Hitch this year, so it'll be at least parking. We'd like everybody to be there and be there on time. The speaker usually does come to ECM first, and we don't want to be late. And other than that, I will say that I did get a need for a vote change from a yay to a nay on House Bill 101. But what's the rule, guys? So I love you, Delegate Chi, but we're stuck. So I believe so. That's what happened. We tied it to the CPI. So thank you.